we are back, but this time, no more picture coverages. Instead, I'm going to be discussing things that I wanted to talk about, but haven't yet, such as the things that have happened from E3 till now. This is NSBD! So starting with the Miis, they're characters I've always kind of wanted in the game, because, it's kind of cool how you can be anyone you want, like anyone. I could be like Reggie Fils-Aimé or Fils-Aimé. I think it is Fils-Aimé. It doesn't matter. I could be my friends. I could be just some famous celebrity like Elijah Wood. It's a really cool concept. I'm just kind of nervous that I really won't be using the Miis that much, because when I play Smash Bros, I use the random selection icon. And I don't think the Miis will be part of that. The Miis just seem kind of like more of like a customizable character other than an actual character slot. But we'll see how they're going to work out. And it's cool, there's 3 different things. Sword fighters, gunners, and brawlers, I think that's what they're called. And I'm wondering what their moveset will be. Probably generic stuff, like the sword fighter will probably be like Link, the brawler will be like Captain Falcon, and gunner will probably be like Samus. And we don't know any of their final smashes either. We just know Samus's. Not Samus's. The Mii gunfighter, which shoots out a giant laser, which is Samus's, that we saw. But I'm curious what the other ones are, and I'm rather interested how come they haven't revealed them yet, because usually there'd be something interesting for a pick a day. But oh well, I guess patience makes perfect. Is that a phrase? I can imagine the sword fighters being something along the lines of Marth's critical hit, but I have no idea what the brawlers will be. Will it be just like a giant punch? Will it be made up? Or will it be like a clone thing like the gunners? Who knows? It's just really interesting how you can play as anyone you want, and I'll see how they integrate into how I play Smash Bros, because it'd be cool to be like Reggie or someone. And I'm really hoping I could just download a Reggie Mii, because I don't feel like making one myself. Of course, I'll make him a puncher, of course. God, I hope their final. I hope the Brawler's final smash is Little Max, because that grows into like a giant person, so I can be like, my body is ready, and go into a giant person. But yeah, that's enough about the Miis. Palutena is a character that everyone I think saw coming, because Sakurai loves his franchise as we've seen in previous incarnations. And of course, the game that he's just worked on, Kid Icarus Uprising, is going to get one more representative than Pit. And who's better fitting than Palutena? I mean, she's the second most important character in that game. And you could do probably a lot with her. I'm not really quite sure where her special moves are coming from. I get the feeling they're just made up for this game. That's not a big deal. Most of these fighters have moves that are just made up from this game. But I think a lot of Palutena's stuff is also from like the powers she gives to Pit while playing the game, like all the different like I forget what they're called, but in the bottom screen you can like tap things and you can activate certain powers with Pit. I get the feeling they kind of drew inspiration from that with some of Palutena's abilities, like maybe the Mega Laser, which is her final smash. And she's unique because she has 12 different. Well, most characters get variants of their specials. Palutena has 12 completely different specials, and I'm looking forward to how I customize her and see what's best for me. It seems a bit overwhelming, but I'll figure it out. She also has a great personality. I'm really glad she is in this game, because she's important to Kid Icarus Uprising. You know, such a great game. It deserves at least one more rep, and I'm glad it's Palutena. And also the leak was there too, which made it incredibly obvious. Oh boy, have I a lot to talk about this next representative. This representative, being Pac-Man, has completely mixed opinions of if he belongs in the game a lot or not. Most people hate him, but I find it kind of funny actually. I always like Smash Bros characters, not the ones that you can see in the game, but more like ones that you don't see in the game. And it's really funny how they put Pac-Man in the game, and they use all the different Namco games and stuff to make him work as a fighter. It's really, really cute in my opinion, and I'm enjoying seeing to play with him. And out of all the third-party characters, Pac-Man is probably the most iconic video game for not just me but everyone. It's like Pong was the first video game, but Pac-Man is like the most recognizable video game character, and he's like huge. He's everywhere, not just in like hardcore video gamers or casual Nintendo fanboys, But even like my dad, my grandparents, everyone's heard of Pac-Man. He's not just a video game, but he's just an arcade game. Like, everyone relates to him, everyone gets him, and it's really cool. And Smash Bros, I love Smash Bros because it gathers all these different people and puts them in one game, and seeing how they mix and match, and those that deserve it. And Pac-Man is the most deserving video game character of all time to be in the game. And it's about damn time he's in Smash Bros because Namco's making this game, and it has a bunch of third-party characters already, like Snake, Sonic, and Mega Man, even though Snake's probably gone. So Pac-Man makes too much sense, and now we have Mario, Sonic, Mega Man, and Pac-Man all in the same game. And just how cool is it? You just mix like these different old school companies going at it, and Pac-Man is just the king of video games. I'm sorry, Mario, you can call Mario the king of video games. Pac-Man is way more important to video games than Mario. Mario to Nintendo is what Pac-Man is to video games. He's incredibly important and useful. We all expected a Fire Emblem Awakening representative to be in the game because that game sold crazy for a Fire Emblem game. It's probably the most successful Fire Emblem game in my opinion, so it makes sense for them to be represented. But I don't think anyone saw 2 coming. I mean, even though we all expected Chrom to be in the game, but he actually wasn't, which makes sense because you already have Ike. So, adding Chrom would just be kind of like a repeat, but why did they add Lucina? I mean, you're avoiding Chrom because he'd be too much of a repeat of Ike, but Lucina is pretty much just a female Marth, but her sword properties are slightly different. That math and logic doesn't really add up in my opinion. It should have been Chrom and Robin. They're way more important than Lucina. Granted, I'm only like 4 chapters into Fire Emblem Awakening, but Chrom is the most interesting character in that game, and I love playing as him. And I'm really disappointed he's not in Smash Bros. I mean, if you're gonna have a clone, why Lucina? Like, why clone Marth? Why not clone Ike and have Chrom in it? That logic doesn't really add up. I mean, I guess you just want... I think they did it just for the sake of having more female representatives, which kind of makes sense in my opinion. And I love playing as Marth way more than I love playing as Ike. And plus, I miss Marth's old special move in Melee, where it was like a slash. When Brawl, it's a poke. And I get the feeling Lucina's will go back to the slash, which is a thing I much prefer. And I get the feeling Lucina's going to be one of my favorite characters because she's going to be like Marth, but I have a feeling she'll be better because her power is more focused on her blade instead of her tip, and I like that more because that's what Marth was like in Melee. And also, as I said, I'm only 4 chapters into Awakening, and maybe Lucina becomes way more important, but so far she's only appeared like once. And also, Ike has like radiant powers, like all the fire and whatnot in the ether. Chrom just has generic sword fighting, so he wouldn't just be a clone of Ike, he'd just be like a generic sword fighter. So I guess they couldn't figure out how to put him in Smash, but maybe he gets powers later. I don't know. But Chrom, I'm just really Chrom is my favorite character in that game so far, and I'm really disappointed he's not in. But Robin, he's really interesting. Like, even though he's kind of bland and boring in Awakening, he has a lot of powers that'll be unique to Smash Bros. I mean, I don't think the selection of fighters should just be based on importance, but also based on relevance. It should be based on how their powers in their game can make them a unique fighter in Smash Bros. And not just their importance. So, having Robin, even though he's kind of uninteresting, he's the avatar, so it kind of makes sense for him to be in a, like, even though he's like the most important character in Awakening, even though he's kind of boring, and he has unique powers, so it makes too much sense for him to be in Smash Bros. And I'm really interested to see how he plays. I like the whole tomes gimmick. One thing I've liked about all these fighters is they all seem to be unique except for Lucina, who's probably my least favorite newcomer so far because of how damn boring she is. And it's really interesting to see how they put him in Smash Bros. And how he plays, and I'm glad Robin is in the game, because I'd rather have Robin than Chrom, because Robin is more unique, but I'd rather have Chrom than Lucina. But that's all I really have to say about them. And most recently, as of last Friday, we just got Shulk announced to be in the game. Shulk is a character I've wanted to be in the game for a long time. He was my most wanted character after playing Xenoblade Chronicles, which is my favorite game of all time. So I was really hyped for him to be in Smash Bros. Because there were rumors going around, and it kind of, like, even though it had been kind of discouraged the rumors lately, I still had high hopes they'd put Shulk in the game anyways, because of how popular Xenoblade Chronicles was, and how Nintendo needs new characters in the games, especially from new IPs. So Shulk was a perfect fit in my opinion. And even though it wasn't surprising, I was so relieved and happy Shulk was in the game. I was like, for a second I was scared he wasn't, but he was. And I was really happy, especially the main character from my favorite game of all time. So the thing is though, while I was speculating Shulk, I kind of had all these ideas for him. The way I saw it was like his Minato arts would be mainly his special attacks, while his regular arts would be his smash attacks. Because a lot of people are like, Shulk just has a sword. He could be so generic. But I'm like, you can use the Minato arts. Like, you can use Minato Cyclone to recover. Minato Buster could be like his charge B attack and everything. So I was kind of disappointed. The only thing the Minato arts for is to change his stats, which at least that's creative. That is really creative for a character. Probably more creative than my ideas was, because we've never had a character before that changes how they play based on based on pressing a B move, and that's creative. But I was also really disappointed that, like, other than that idea, his specials are very bland. Like, he has a counter, and he has an up B, which is just marked with an extra slash. But he has backslash, though, which is kind of like, I don't know, that seems like a smash attack, to be honest, where he just swings his sword. But I guess it does more damage from the back, obviously. Kind of like Robin's down B does more damage from the back. I get the feeling they implemented that mechanic for Shulk to do more damage from the back, and then they put it for Robin as well. And I kind of totally understand the fact that they have limited time, and they kind of just made Shulk kind of generic to, like, so they could spend time on other characters. Because even I'd rather have like 10 newcomers than like five like newcomers that are creative. Because to me, with newcomers, it's more about quantity over quality. But actually, it's more of like a balance, to be honest. Because I do want to. If there's only 5 newcomers, what's the point of buying the game? So I'm just glad Shulk's there at all. He can be generic all he wants. Even if he was just a clone, I would just be happy he's in the game. But at least he has some sort of creative gimmick to him by changing his stats. But I was really disappointed that his specials weren't his Minato arts. Going into his final smash, my first idea was he was gonna do a chain attack, but then I thought about it and I'm like, no, he'll probably use the Minato Buster to do his final smash, kind of like most sword users that just have a giant sword attack, and his Minato Buster could like cover all the stage and hit everyone. But what do you know, it was a chain attack, and it summons Dunbun and Ricky in the trailer. However, the thing about that is what am I trying to say here? The thing about that is it's just Dunbun and Ricky. I wouldn't be surprised if, my theory is they'll put more party members in the game, and it'll be a random 2 party members each time. So like you get like Melly and Fiora and Charla and Ryan and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, while I do think that's a possibility, I kind of have a bad feeling it's just Dunbun and Ricky and not the other party members, which is a shame though, because even though I don't really care for Ryan's character that much in Xenoblade, he's definitely like Shulk's sidekick, so it'd be kind of weird for him not to be summoned. I mean, Ricky's not even that important, even though he's a fan favorite. So it'd be weird for like people like Ryan and Fiora to not be in his final smash, because they're like 2 of Shulk's closest friends. Well, Ricky's just someone you meet on your adventure, and Dunbun's pretty close, but he's not as close. It'd just be weird. So I kind of get the feeling there'll be random 2 party members each time. But if it isn't, I'd be kind of weirded out though, because yeah, what I've said. But it may be because they couldn't get the voice actors to come back, and they could only get Ricky and Dunbun. And that's why Ricky is an assist trophy as well, because they couldn't get the voice actors for any other party member, so they used Ricky for the final smash and for the assist trophy. Though Ricky is probably the best fit for an assist trophy because of all the different things he can do, and he does different stuff like freeze-nades. According to the miiverse, of course, he does all this stuff, and he's a fan favorite. So I always wanted Ricky to be in the assist trophy in the final, but it was kind of weird how Ricky's in the final smash and assist trophy. So my theory is, there's a random 2 party members each time for the final smash. And Ricky's best fit for an assist trophy. Or B, Dunbun and Ricky are the only 2 party members, voice actors they could get back besides Shulk. And it's a bit of a disappointment, but I guess we'll have to live with it. Shulk's in the game. That's all that matters. Okay, so next I'm gonna get into stages. There hasn't really been too many new stages revealed since E3, since E3 revealed a lot. But I'm gonna talk about Pac-Land. That was the stage revealed at E3 for the Wii U, and Pac-Maze for the 3DS, because of course, Pac-Man being in the game warrants some stages for him. Pac-Maze looks interesting. Kind of reminds me of Golden Plains, where you need to collect something and then you get a power-up. So that seems kind of cool, and you have to avoid the ghost. It reminds me a bit of 75M, with the whole, like, size of it, and the whole retro feel. But, that's besides the point. It seems interesting. I'm sure I'll play it. I'm sure I like it. Pac-Land, we know absolutely nothing about other than there's a fire hydrant, so there's not much to talk about there. Then we got some returning stages for the 3DS revealed in some pick of the days, being like the Sonic stage, Green Hill Zone from Brawl, and Brinstar from Melee. Green Hill Zone I'm glad about. I kind of like that stage, and it makes sense for it to be back, but I'm kind of weird about Brinstar. I don't know why if they're returning stages, why are they returning so many well, just 2, the Jungle Japes. Point is, why are they returning stages for Melee that were already returned in Brawl? If they want to return stages, they should return Brawl stages that haven't been in Melee, or Melee stages that haven't been in Brawl. Why bring back something that's been so overused, like Brinstar? I'm so sick of Brinstar. I literally, like, I play it so much, I'm so sick of it. Why can't they return Brinstar Depths? That was a much more interesting stage, in my opinion. Well, Brinstar's probably more interesting, but I'm sick of it. Why didn't they return Brinstar Depths or Norfair? Even though I didn't like Norfair either. Or, that other stage. That other Metroid stage in Brawl that I completely forgot about. That was interesting. I'm so sick of these damn lava stages. And we already have the Pyrosphere. Why Brinstar? Why Jungle Japes? Why not other stages that haven't been in 2 games already? It's really annoying. But yeah, that's enough about me ranting about the returning stages. There's one more Wii U stage I was shown off, was the Star Fox stage. Great Fox, that's what it's called. I know, and it just seems kind of like Corneria, and yeah, it seems pretty much like Corneria. But it has a cool space setting, which is pretty nice. And I'm glad it has a new setting, because it feels kind of like they're returning Corneria, but having a different environment. So I don't mind them recycling stages, as long as they feel different. But returning the same stages over and over again are okay. Like, Skyloft's okay, even though it's pretty much just Delfino Plaza with different background. But it's okay, because it's a new thing, not just a returning stage. So I have no problem with the Great Fox, even though it's pretty much just like Corneria. It's in space, like the Star Fox ship in the first game. And that's probably my favorite Star Fox stage of all time. Even though all the Star Fox stages are the same, except for Lilac Cruise, which is a platform floating in space. These are all ships. I like ships better, though. They have more space, and I really like the one in Smash Bros. 64. And this one seems like it, because it's all space and whatnot. And lastly, there were a bunch more stages revealed on the 3DS, all in 1 week, actually. I'm gonna talk about the Game Boy stage at first, which is kind of cool. It reminds me of Flat Zone, where you're in like this box and it changes. And we've seen different pictures, but I won't get into that, of like how it changes and whatnot. I'm pretty sure it's gonna like morph with different games and everything, and change it to different games, which seems interesting, because again, it's like Flat Zone. And I feel it will be Game & Watch's stage, since I kind of have a bad feeling they're not going to make a Flat Zone 3 or anything, and there's not much to do with Game & Watch. So I have a feeling that Game & Watch will kind of have the Game Boy as a stage, because ROB never got a stage. Not every character has to get a stage. End's Castle is kind of weird. It seems, I've always wanted I was always kind of annoyed that Gen 5 didn't get any stage. Like, I would think that they'd make Gen 6 stage for the 3DS being the Prism Tower, and then the Wii U stage would be Gen 5 stage, because you'd have one in each game. Like, if you're gonna have 2 different stages, why not have one Gen 6 and one Gen 5? But instead, it's another Gen 6 stage. The Gen 6 stage being the Kalos Pokemon League. But in this game, there's 3 Pokemon stages. Well, there's 2 on the 3DS and 1 on the Wii U so far. I'm sure there'll be more. So I was really, really happy that Gen 5 got a representation of a stage, because it's not fair for Gen 6 to get 2 and Gen 5 to get squat. I mean, you can argue that Gen 3 didn't get a stage, but there was only one, besides Pokemon Stadium, which isn't from nothing, there was only one Pokemon stage. And if they're only going to put one Pokemon stage in these games, I'd want it to be Gen 6 because it's newer. But if you're going to have 2, you should have 1 in Gen 5. So I was really glad that they didn't neglect Gen 5, and it's getting Ent's Castle as a stage. It kind of reminds me of Spear Pillar, which is okay, because I actually love Spear Pillar. It's one of my favorite stages. And Zekrom and Reshiram appear, and they attack like usual. And for some reason, Milotic. I have no idea why Milotic's there. I'm guessing because Kyurem's already a Pokeball Pokemon, and they wanted like a 3rd thing. So, and most of the Gen 5 legendaries are already Pokemon. So I guess it makes sense for it to just be another water dragon, because they have a fire dragon, electric dragon, and there's no other water dragon except Milotic. I mean, sure there's Kingdra, but Milotic looks like a dragon. And these games are more about looks and actual typing. So Milotic kind of makes sense to fit in with the Zekrom and Reshiram trio because of how dragon-like it is. And who knows, maybe they'll do something unique with it. I don't know, but we'll have to see. And the last stage I have a lot to talk about, being the Paper Mario stage. You do not know how excited I got when I first saw the Paper Mario stage. Well, that's a lie. The first pick of the day just showed Sticker Star. So I got so mad because I hate Paper Mario Sticker Star with an absolute passion. But then, so I'm like, oh my god, even though the stage is going to be fun, I'm turning it off because I do not want to be reminded of this shitty, god-awful game. But then I clicked it and I saw another pick of the day being Flavio Ship. So I was relieved. I'm like, thank God. They're going through many different Paper Mario games, which I'm so happy about, since Paper Mario is such a great franchise, except for Sticker Star. So I'm kind of wondering what other things they're going to go through. It'd be fun if it isn't just like 4 or 5, but there's 10 to 15 and it rapidly changes. It'd be really interesting in my opinion, kind of like a pop-up book where you go through different things and it'd be like really quick. So we already saw Bowser's Castle from Sticker Star. I hate Sticker Star in it, and I'm kind of disappointed there's another Paper Mario Sticker Star stage in there. But I have a feeling there's going to be more Thousand Year Door stages, and I'm kind of I don't know about Thousand Year Door, but for Super Paper Mario, I really, really, really want the Woe Zone to be a part of the stage. Because Galaxy experiments with gravity, so you can have the Woe Zone also experimenting with gravity. And I love the Woe. It's one of my favorite areas in all the Paper Mario games. So I'm really hoping the Woe Zone's there. As for Paper Mario 64, I don't know. There's so many. Paper Mario has so much like various locations. I can see like maybe the Glitz Pits being there, kind of like a boxing arena type thing. Because I get the feeling, because they're putting so many stages in one, they're gonna make them all simple. So the Glitz Pits arena is pretty simple to put in the game. So I don't see why not, but I just hope the Woe Zone's there, even though it's not really that simple. For assist trophies, not that many assist trophies have been revealed so far. At E3, actually in the build, I discovered this without a pick of the day or any sort of announcement. I was pleasantly surprised Magnus is an assist trophy. You see, after Palutena was revealed, I thought Magnus isn't going to be a character. He only appeared like in 2 chapters, but he was still really important, had a cool design. So I was glad he's an assist trophy, so that makes sense. And as we know, Sakurai loves the series, it makes sense there'd be a Kid Icarus Uprising assist trophy. And Magnus is the perfect thing in my opinion. He's kind of generic, but it's just cool he's in there. And most assist trophies are pretty generic, but it's just cool to have some sort of side representation for these characters if they're not important enough to be playable, kind of like Waluigi. I kind of consider Magnus to have like a Waluigi treatment, where he's pretty important but not important enough to be a playable character. So it makes sense for him to be an assist trophy, and I was kind of glad. There's also some stuff I haven't heard of, like the Prince of Sableye, which I don't really have much to talk about. There's always these obscure retro assist trophies, which I really like because it gives me more Nintendo knowledge for stuff that people haven't heard about. And I always like when characters are playable. And speaking of that, there's also Takumaru, which I didn't know was a character, but I have people that constantly suggest he should be a character. And I get the feeling Takumaru is going to get the Little Mac treatment, where he's introduced in this game as an assist trophy, and in Smash 5, when they're really running out of characters, they'll make him a playable character as like that retro type character, kind of like Little Mac. So, and he just got like some acknowledgement with Nintendo Land. He was in there. So I kind of see him being a playable character in Smash 5, kind of like Little Mac, where he first brought in as an assist trophy to remind people who they were. And then a playable character in the next game. And then lastly, there's the one I really want to talk about, being Girahim. Girahim, ever since Rosalina was revealed, I was always scared they're gonna put like, oh, this character is new and he's decently popular. Let's make him a playable character, even though they've barely been in any they've barely been in any games. So I was really scared for if we were gonna get a Zelda representation. It was going to be Girahim, even though he's only appeared in one game, being Skyward Sword. And this is just a personal opinion, but even though he's popular, I really didn't like him much. I'll get into that in another video, but I really didn't want him to be a playable character. Not only did I feel he didn't deserve it, but he was also kind of annoying. I mean, if you're gonna have Girahim in the game, why not have like Zant in the game, or Aghanim in the game? Like all these like secondary main villains before they get hijacked by someone else. And Girahim was just like that, even though he did have kind of like the physique, but I was always scared he'd be forced into the game because he was popular and Skyward Sword was the most recent Zelda game, and Nintendo seems to love him a lot, even though I don't like him at all. He does have a unique design, but it kind of reminds me of like a Final Fantasy type look. So I was really glad he was in this trophy, because I did think he deserved some representation in Smash Bros, but I did not want him as a playable character, even though I actually thought for like a few months he would be. And I was so glad he was an assist trophy. And I'm glad I'd rather him be an assist trophy than like a trophy or nothing, because I do agree he deserves acknowledgement. So he definitely deserves to be in the game as an assist trophy. So yeah, that pretty much covers it for everything I wanted to talk about that I had an opinion of that's been revealed since I stopped covering NSBD. Granted, I know there's a few game modes and whatnot that are still that were included, but I don't really have much to say about them, so I'm just gonna leave it at this. I hope you enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys for the next episode.